If music is the soundtrack to your life, then surely Bob Dylan must have written the score for several lifetimes. His songs are an epic poem that chronicles our times. But what about the man himself? Like his music, he is many things to many people. To some, he's the voice of a generation. To others, a Nobel Prize-winning poet. But to most, he's just plain old Bobby Zimmerman, a goofy Minnesotan with a harmonica and a quick wit. And yet, despite all the adulation and acclaim, he remains one of the most enigmatic figures in modern culture. Welcome to Facts in History. The story of Bob Dylan is like one of his songs. There are multiple ways to tell it. Let's start with the first verse. Robert Allen Zimmerman was born on May 24, 1941, in Duluth, Minnesota. His father was a truck driver and his mother was a homemaker. And though the family would move around a bit, they always stayed in Minnesota. But even as a kid, Bob wanted to get out of town. In fact, when he was 13, he ran away from home, hitchhiked to Hibbing, Minnesota, where his grandparents lived, and changed his name to Bob Dylan, taking it from two characters in the 1936 movie, The Petrified Forest. Even though Dylan has spent most of his life in the public eye, there is still a lot we don't know about him. So much so that there's an entire website dedicated to debunking myths about his early life. Did he or did he not run away from home at 13? Did he or did he not enlist in the U.S. Army and receive a draft exemption due to conscientious objector status? We may never know for sure, but there are certain facts we do know. Dylan learned guitar from his father. He developed an early passion for folk and blues music, which he heard on the radio. And while attending the University of Minnesota in the late 50s, he took a course in creative writing that would help him later on. You see, Dylan soon tired of college life and dropped out in 1961 to pursue music full-time. He moved to New York City and played in clubs, eventually becoming friends with other folk singers such as Dave Van Ronk, who helped him hone his style and taught him how to accompany himself on the harmonica. It was also around this time that Dylan began to incorporate topical songs into his performances. That is, songs that address current events and issues of social commentary. And these were often based on traditional folk songs which had addressed similar subjects. But what really catapulted Dylan into the spotlight happened on March 29, 1962, when he performed for the first time at Gerda's Folk City in New York City. It was here that he met the love of his life, a Swedish actress named Sarah Loans. She was a muse for many of his early songs and became the mother of his children. Also during this time, Dylan caught the attention of Albert Grossman, a booking agent who helped him land gigs at major venues like Carnegie Hall and the Newport Folk Festival. Now let's go to the B section. On August 29, 1962, Dylan recorded his first album for Columbia Records called Bob Dylan. It featured a collection of folk tunes and covers of American standards, but it wasn't until his third album that he really hit his stride. The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan was released in 1963 and immediately became a critical and commercial success. Its 12 tracks contained some of his best-known songs, including Blowin' in the Wind, A Hard Rain's A-Gonna Fall, and Masters of War. These songs, along with others on the album, established Dylan's reputation as a leading voice of the burgeoning civil rights and anti-war movements and made him a celebrity. In fact, activists started quoting his lyrics and playing his records at protests, which drew the attention of the FBI, who placed him under surveillance. That's right, for a guy who sang about peace and love, he got the full-blown government watchdog treatment. But hey, that's America for ya. And Dylan's popularity grew even more with his next album, The Times They Are A-Changing. Released in 1964, it contained songs like With God on Our Side, Only a Pawn in Their Game, and the title track, which was used as the anthem of the civil rights movement. This was followed by another successful album, Another Side of Bob Dylan. Then came Bringing It All Back Home in 1965, which marked a departure from Dylan's previous work. It was his first electric album, featuring feedback, distortion, and amplified instrumentation. And though critics were mixed on it, fans loved it. But as Dylan's career skyrocketed, so did his drug usage. By 1965, he was a full-blown addict, hooked on everything from booze and pills to nicotine and weed. And this led to his infamous motorcycle accident in 1966, which nearly ended his life and his career. It would be his manager who found him lying next to his broken Triumph motorcycle, suffering from amnesia and unable to speak. After months of physical therapy, Dylan slowly began to recover, but he had lost his voice, both literally and figuratively. And this led to what is known as the Nashville Skyline period of his career. In 1969, Dylan released his first album of country music, which included his biggest hit, the title track, Lay, Lady, Lay. It was followed 2 years later by the Johnny Cash-produced Blood on the Tracks. These albums, along with 1975's Desire, showed a softer side of Dylan, showcasing his songwriting skills and his ability to connect with audiences on a more personal level. Then in 1978, Dylan's life took another unexpected turn. He became born-again Christian. This led to the release of 3 gospel albums, Slow Train Coming, Saved, and Shot of Love. Though these albums weren't commercially successful, they were critically acclaimed and showed a new depth to Dylan's spirituality and artistry. After this, Dylan went through something of a rough patch. He was in a near-fatal car accident. He battled with his record label and he alienated some fans with his decision to tour with the Rolling Stones. But he persevered and in 1989 released his first album in 10 years, Oh Mercy. It was followed 6 years later by Time Out of Mind, which was a critical and commercial success. And this led to a resurgence in Dylan's career and a renewed interest in his music. In 2001, he released Love and Theft, which was praised for its lyrical dexterity and musical experimentation. It was followed in 2006 by Modern Times, which showcased Dylan's signature snarl and a return to his early influences, particularly the jazz age. Then in 2009 came Together Through Life, which was recorded in the same sessions as Modern Times, and this was followed by Tempest in 2012, which featured some of Dylan's longest songs. So that's the story of Dylan's career. But let's talk about his legacy. The man has received countless awards and honors, including 11 Grammy Awards, an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and a Pulitzer Prize. But his greatest honor came in 2016 when he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature, making him the first musician to win the award. The Swedish Academy cited him for having created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition. Though Dylan has been a major influence on popular culture since the 1960s, he is still touring and recording, and he continues to fascinate and bewilder us in equal measure. For example, in 2020, he released Rough and Rowdy Ways, which features his longest song ever, 10-minute epic, Murder Most Foul, or consider his Bootleg series, which contains live recordings, demos, and alternate versions of his songs. For instance, the second installment of the series, which was released in 1998, contains his famous 1975 Rolling Thunder Revue performances. Or check out the Chronicles, which are collections of his prose. And though they've been met with mixed reviews, they offer a fascinating glimpse into his mind. As for what makes Dylan so fascinating, well, that's up for debate. Some say it's his ability to connect with audiences on a deeply personal level through his music. Others point to his iconic status as a symbol of the counterculture movement of the 1960s. But whatever the reason, there is no denying that Bob Dylan is one of the most important and influential musicians of our time. Thanks for watching this episode.